What's up, guys? It's the next Mike Ike, and I'm coming back at you with another Warhammer 40k Tacticus video. In today's video, we are going to continue our weekly series for the Arena Battle Report. And this week, we're going to do something slightly different. And the main reason is, for the first time since I started doing these reports, I was unable to advance to the next league. So this is my free-to-play account, which I don't spend a lot of time on. But if we go and look at the leagues, I last week was in the Lieutenant League for a second league in a week in a row, where all the top players had moved up into the Honor Guard League. Now, guys, eventually we are going to get to the point where we just cannot stay up with the whales, right? And I think we kind of hit that point. This week I was able to move up into the Honor Guard League, but to move up from Honor Guard League to Captain's League, you need to be in the top 100 of this league. Right now I have not lost a single battle this week on my main. Yeah, it's still early, but I'm still sitting in like the high 100s. So it's just not looking like I'm going to be able to compete with those top guys. There is a little... I kind of say it's a drawback to the way these leagues work. The people that save up their arena battles for when the league restarts every week have a huge advantage. I mean, that's literally the difference between me, where I'm sitting at now in the Honor Guard League, that instead of being in the top, like 50 or so, is because I had to use all of my battles before the end of last week to get into the top 200 that you needed to get to the Honor Guard League. So that put me at a disadvantage this week. Even though I haven't lost a single battle, I just didn't have as many tickets starting out this week as they did the week before. Now, guys, it's top 100 to get from Honor Guard to Captain League. I'm assuming Captain League is going to be top 50 to get to the Chapter Master League, which is the best league. However, next week I am going to return to the normal way of doing these videos, because I do think, even though I'm a league behind, I think the level of competition is high enough where it's going to continue to reflect the meta. That was the issue with this last week, because I wasn't able to continue to stay in the top league. The level of competition in that Lieutenant League for this past week, Season 8, was just, I didn't feel was reflective of what the top meta really was. I was able to finish 11th in that league, just out of that top 10 spot. I was in top 10 and it was like 5 minutes ago, and somebody, I think I was like sitting at 9th, so 2 people jumped me right at the end to bump me out of that top 10. But that, I felt like that league was, didn't reflect what the meta actually is. Now, even though I am a week behind now, or a league behind, I'm in the Honor Guard League, where the best players that are right now are sitting in Captain League. Nobody's in Chapter Master League. Next week will be the first week where we have people in Chapter Master League. I will probably still be in the Honor Guard League, but the level of competition in the Honor Guard League this time, and the teams that I'm looking at for this particular season, Season 9, so that'll be next week's video, is, I think, reflective of what the meta actually is. So we'll return to the normal type of battle report that I've been doing, or arena report that I've been doing next week. So for this week, what I did was, actually, if you look at the leaderboard, we have this Hall of Fame. Now, in the past, I believe that the Hall of Fame were kind of just computers. They were there to, to give us stuff to chase. They all had like 1,500 trophies. I think these are all real players now. So what I did is I looked at these top 10 players and looked at their teams for this week, and we're just going to go over the same as we usually do, like which characters got used the most. But instead of, having like multiple data points of, like 4 times looking at the top 25 in my league like I have been, I'm only getting to look at these top 10 teams. However, looking at the data that I did record for this, it's pretty reflective of what, what my data has been for the last few arena reports. So with that, this week, again, guys, I'm sorry, it's going to be slightly different. But next week, we'll get back to the normal way that I've been doing these. So with that, let's get into this week. So since we only had 10 teams, I couldn't even put together a top 10. We have tied for 9th. These characters all had one use out of all those top 10 teams in the Hall of Fame. That's going to be Tank Smasher, Abaddon, General Creed, I think it is, right? Or Castellan Creed. Tigarius, Roswitha, Volk, and Thaddeus. So a lot of those names are guys that, you know, they're characters that have been in these top 10 lists before, like Roswitha has been in the top 10 list. Not surprised. Tigarius, I was actually surprised to see a character, somebody still using him even in that top 10, but it was only one person. We did have a total of 4 legendaries make this list. We had 2 sitting here with one use. This data I did kind of find interesting because, again, these are supposedly the top 10 players in the game right now, at least as far as trophies go, and only 4 legendaries made that list. Creed was one of those with one use. Not surprised by that. I think as more people get him built, we will see him more and more. I just think he's kind of like one of those ones that just people don't have built right now because they haven't grinded up the 500 shards to unlock him, and then, you know, continue to grind up the shards to get him high enough level to compete in these top levels of arena. Abaddon, not a surprise to see him. He's been in and out of our top 10 a few times, so not shocked to see him. And as we go up this list, we'll go to the rest of these characters. Volk, you know, we've had him in the top 10 before, so, you know, wasn't surprised to see him being used. Let's see, who else did we have? Tank Smasher. Now, Tank Smasher's never made it into one of these top 10 lists, but he is a character that, as I've been making these lists, he does continue to show up. He's a character that doesn't get used that much, but some of the bigger whales are using him occasionally, so there is some usage there for him. So wasn't shocked to see one player using him as well. And then Thaddeus Noble, where is he? This is a character just like Tank Smasher that always just falls out of the top 10 when I'm doing these these normal battle or these normal arena reports. But it's a character that I expect to eventually see be in that top 10. His active ability is just really good. If he hasn't moved, he unleashes a barrage of 5 shells on any target on the battlefield, each dealing 2 hits, 3 random hits to target hexes or surrounding hexes, and the remaining 2 hits the hexes surrounding those. So it's kind of an RNG, but it puts out suppressive fire, which is really nice because it gets rid of those overwatches, and it's a great ability to use on your first turn because you can hit anywhere and your opponent's stuff will all be grouped up at the very beginning. And yeah, like, it's not going to one-shot something, but just getting splash damage on a bunch of your opponent's stuff right from the beginning, I think is really good, because it probably moves a lot of that stuff into one-shot range. So I actually expect to see him more and more, and I expect him to eventually crack the top 10 list. I do think he's pretty good. I also think he's a pretty good solid unit for live arena, so I do expect to see people building him. Alright, so that was all the one-use guys, so now we can move up to the next list, which is, we're going to go tied for 6th. We had 3 characters with 3 uses each. These were all tied for 6th place with 3 uses. All the rest of these characters, guys, we're not going to go that deep into it. They're all returning characters to these lists. So we had Calendis. Kind of surprised that she didn't have as much use as she has in the last few weeks. I'm not 100% sure why. Like, I have mine built on my main account, and she's a monster, right? You always are going to get that Overwatch hit. A lot of times it doesn't, you know, it's RNG whether it crits or not, but if it does, it pretty much one-shots something. And then your turn goes, and then if you get a crit again, you one-shot something else. A lot of times she can take out 2 characters right from the get-go. And if she doesn't take out two characters, she's pretty much guaranteed between her Overwatch and then her first attack to take somebody out. And she's also pretty hard to deal with because she will hit people when they come in melee, and if you have this leveled up really well, guys, this can straight up one-shot characters as well, that ability. And then her active is actually really nice because she can move, do damage, and then move again, and then she takes less damage from range attacks, which means like she pretty much will not die from a range attack after you use that, which means if your opponent wants to deal with them, one of the characters would have to move into melee, and then this is going to trigger, and this is a threat too, especially to a character that already has damage on it. This usually will finish them off. She's just a really solid character. Awesome that we had that event for everybody to kind of build her up and get her to a decent level. Obviously on my free-to-play account I didn't play that much, but on my main I have her at Epic 2-star, I think. And then they gave us all those nice rewards where we were able to maybe get her another level because of some kind of error. But the max on that was 50 shards. So on my main, I wasn't actually able to use those shards to get her to the next level. But for her, I have her probably a few onslaught runs away from being able to get her to Epic 3-star. Right here to the max Epic level. So, everybody has her built to a decent level. Anybody that was playing when that event was going on. If you're a new player, kind of stinks you missed out on that. We do have another one coming up for the second Eldari character, so make sure you're take care of that event. I think that event starts October 16th, so be on the lookout for that. Alright, so she had 3 uses. The next 2 are the other 2 legendary characters. Nobody's going to be surprised. These characters were on the list last week. I do think these are probably, at least for arena-wise, the best 2 legendaries in the game. Morven Vahl's been on the top 10 list pretty much every week. She's been the most consistent legendary character in the top 10 list. Not surprised to see her get 3 uses out of those top 10 teams. And then, as predicted in a few videos, Celestine, she's here now. I expect her to continue to remain in these top 10 lists. Now that enough people have grinded her out and have her unlocked, she's just really, really solid character as well. So not surprised. So those were the 3 characters that were tied for 6th with all 3 uses. So let's get into the top 5. You guys are going to recognize these top 5, so nobody's... Well, I guess one of them will be a slight shocker, but not really. So coming in number 5 is Harkin. Again, guys, he had 4 uses out of those top 10 teams in the Hall of Fame right now. As we always say, he's just a toolkit. He does everything well. I had somebody in one of my videos comment about him not being super tanky and said my review of him was either just wrong or horrible. That's incorrect, guys. I'm not saying he's the tankiest character in the world. He's not. But he's not a glass cannon, which was kind of the point I was trying to make. He will take a hit or 2 and then dish out the damage. And his damage that he dishes out is just really solid. Like, yeah, he's not an uber tank, guys. I'd never claimed that. But he's got, I would say average to above average survivability. When I face a good one in arena, I know I'm going to have to either put in my Archimedos to it to remove it, or I'm going to have to dedicate at least 2 characters to removing him from the board. So, and any character that, you can't just one-shot with something is, I consider, above average survivability. And that's just a survivability that doesn't take into account the output damage that he puts out. I think the one guy said, oh, he always dies to Overwatch. Guys, if you take an Overwatch shot in arena, you're not playing arena correctly. Now, I'm not talking about live arena, guys. This is just the regular arena mode. You have complete control of the regular arena mode. You should be getting Overwatches off, and you should not be moving stuff into Overwatch. Unless it's like second turn and you're like, okay, I need to finish this guy off so I can risk this Overwatch. But for the most part, if you're taking Overwatches in arena, you're doing something wrong. And yes, a Calendus Overwatch that crits will kill him, as it will kill pretty much everything else in the game as well. Calendus with a crit on Overwatch. Let me say, a good build at Calendus will one-shot most of the stuff in this game. So anyway, that's Harkin, coming in with 4 uses, sitting in the 5th position. Coming in at number 4, and this is, I guess, the one that I was going to say is kind of a surprise because he had been falling off the last few weeks, is Boss Golgorts. Again, we went over him. I don't really see the appeal in regular arena for him, especially, like, you don't need his movement buff because, again, in regular arena, you're going to control what happens. A lot of times you get your stuff positioned right out of threat range, you hit go, your opponent, the AI for your opponent just moves everything into range, nothing hits you, you get a couple Overwatches off, or at least one Overwatch off, I'm assuming you're playing one of the Overwatch characters, and then, you know, you're in range with all your melee characters. You don't need the extra movement he provides. And, you know, his regular hits and stuff, like, he does decent damage, but he's not like a world beater. So I am actually surprised to see him up here in this list. Again, maybe I'm just missing something. If I'm missing something on this guy, just let me know. I think he is extremely useful in live arena, but in regular arena, I still don't see it. I think, like I was saying in the other videos, I think people were using him because once you do get him unlocked, you get him unlocked at epic levels. So he's going to be, if you're a newer player, when you finally get him unlocked, he's going to be one of your higher tiered characters, rarity characters that you get unlocked in the game early on. So, but other than that, I don't see it with him. And again, guys, if I'm totally missing something on that, let me know in the comments section. Tell me why you think Boss Golgorts is awesome for regular arena. Alright, and then we get to the top 3, and nobody's going to be surprised by these. Maybe they'll be slightly surprised by the order, but whatever. Coming in at tied for 2nd, we had 8 uses for each of these. Again, guys, instead of my usual videos where it's the top 25 teams, this is just the top 10 teams. So 8 uses in these top 10 teams means only 2 teams didn't have these 2 characters in them. And that's going to be Archimedos. Again, probably the best character in the game for Arena right now. Debatable, him or Yarick, the other character that's top 10, you know, probably. It's between him and Archimedos, in my opinion, the best 2 characters in the game for Arena right now. And both of those came in with 8 uses. And then coming in, number 1, with 9 uses. So only 1 team in that top 10 team didn't have Aleph Null. Again, these are the usual top 3. The order changes slightly. The uses change slightly, but it's still these top 3. Again, until Summoners get nerfed, I continue to think these 3 will continue to be at the top of these lists. You know, because they're the best Summoners in the game. We do have the event going on right now to get this guy, Corodius, so it'll be kind of interesting to see if he works his way in. I have a feeling he won't. His ability here is okay. You know, letting Chaos units get 1 extra movement's decent, but again, in Arena, not live arena, I don't think that extra movement's that big of a deal. Maybe he'll be used in live arena more, but that movement's not that big of a deal in regular arena because you can kind of control that. His summons is nice, but it is very RNG based. So, you know, a lot of times you're going to have to use that summons. Arena battles are quick, guys. They're not going to go 3 or 4, 4 or 5 rounds. You know, maybe they go a couple rounds, but usually in regular arena, like the first or second round is pretty much the arena battle is decided. And with this Contagion aura not really bumping up until rounds 3 or 4, in rounds 1 or 2, you're going to get 1 or 2 of these Poxwalkers off. And, you know, I just don't see that being worth it. And then he himself is slow. Right, all the Death Guard guys. I will have a Death Guard video coming out eventually as I'm doing all these faction reviews. But I think one of their weaknesses in Death Guard in general is that they're all really slow, and they don't really have a way to make up for it. I guess he does, but yeah, just meh. And then like other summoners in the game, I think we will. Like I said, we're seeing Celestine. She's a weird summoner, but she's pretty good. And then this guy has a pretty decent summons as well. But again, it's for each round that it started. So like the better summoners in the game are the ones that just come out with a good chunk, right? As you get Archimedos built up, this goes from you're gonna up to 4, up to 5, and I've heard it goes all the way up to 6 if you have the spaces available. Yarick just brings 4 guys. Guys, on my main, I got this ability up to I think level 33, and the guardsmen are insane. They win me the arena battle without pretty much the rest of my characters, because they're like, I think they're sitting at like 1,000 health. They're sitting at almost double what his health is at that level, and they deal like, they one-shot a lot of stuff. They're insane, which is again why Yarick's being built. And then Aleph Null, yes, he only brings 2 summons, but they are the swarm guys. So if your opponent doesn't have the things to deal with them, they're going to run rampant, and then they have the chance to spawn more at the beginning of their turns. So that's the thing. So with that, guys, that's going to be the end of this video. I know it was a little bit different than the last reports, and again, I just felt like this was the way to go this week because I didn't feel like the level of competition in the league that I was in really reflected what the meta was. But next week we should be back on track with these normal reports the way we've been doing them. So hope you guys are looking forward to that. And with that, guys, as always, really appreciate you guys taking the time to view my channel. If you're not subscribed, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button, like the video, comment, guys, tell me what you think, tell me who you think is going to creep into the top 10, who you think is being slept on, that type of thing. Again, with Boss Golgorts, if you think I'm totally missing the point of how he works, let me know what your opinion is on him as well. As of my making of this video, I did just put out the video for the 100 subs giveaway, so that winner has been announced, guys. So if you haven't checked that video out and you were part of that giveaway, go ahead and check that out, see if you're the lucky winner. And with that, we are at 177 subs at the time of this video, so the next giveaway I'm going to do is at 250 subs. So if you haven't subscribed and you want to be a part of that next giveaway and you don't want to miss out on it, go ahead, hit that subscription. We are, less than 75 subs from making that happen. And, I say we are as making that happen because obviously I can't make it happen. You guys are the guys that make it happen, and I really, really appreciate each and every one of you. And with that, guys, thank you for watching, and I hope you guys have a fantastic day.